again for another installment of a general ecology video for you. Today on this beautiful spring day we are at the Mawignack Preserve in Catskill. To get here on your own you would take Main Street in Catskill west towards Jefferson Heights. Right before you get to Jefferson Heights on the hill you would take a left on Snake Road. Follow Snake Road mostly to the end and the park is going to be on your right. This is a good place to go if you want to get some fresh air and maintain social distancing. You can see by the signs up there that they have signs that they're limiting how many people can come, but they are open. As you are here, if you want to check out a really cool site, from where I'm standing right in front of me, there's a huge white pine. Towards the top there is a bald eagle's nest, and as I've been standing here just in about 10 minutes I've seen 2 bald eagles fly into the nest. So very cool find. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about a little bit of local history and restoration ecology. So this way. The trail we're going to be walking on is about a 1-mile loop that travels down through what used to be agricultural land around here. You can see in the background that there are mountains. Those are the Catskill Mountains. This preserve is in the process of being restored and going through what we call ecological restoration. As we have stopped farming in this area, what has happened, unfortunately, is there have been a lot of invasive species that have colonized the area. A lot of this forest is very nice to look at it, but it contains a lot of the invasive black locust, and it also contains other invasives like this garlic mustard here. Something else that's noteworthy regarding this site is the fact that Thomas Cole, the founder of the Hudson River School of Art, liked to paint here. And this is one of his most favorite view sheds. He painted the Catskill Creek more than any other place in the American landscape over a dozen times throughout the 1820s to the 1840s. This spanned over 5 presidential terms, and as you can imagine, that was a time period in our nation's history where there was a lot of change. One thing that he did with those works is that by painting the same place over and over those decades, is that he was able to make a commentary with his paintings on how we were developing the land. One thing he was particularly not happy about was the installment of the railroad that ran through this area here in Catskill. There is some remnants of that railroad that we're going to check out. So behind me you can see that trail goes out kind of straight. That would be the remnants of the old railroad that was coming through during Thomas Cole's time. If you look over here to my right, it is recovering farmland. You can actually see that it's kind of a wet meadow. And you can hear a frog calling out. Other things we can spot here are 2 bluebird nesting boxes. Prior to this being farmland, it was what we call ancient floodplain forest, and that type of habitat is really important in terms of biodiversity, but also in terms of controlling erosion of the soil. We're going to go now to a place that has a similar habitat currently, and that's the type of habitat that the Green Land Trust is working on restoring at this preserve. Another important feature that I wanted to stop and talk about is this wonderful vernal pool here that's alongside, wood ducks! That was very exciting. Anyway, what we're going to see is this is teeming with life. If you were here in person, you would actually be able to see tadpoles that are swimming around in here. Also a lot of invertebrates swimming around in here. You could also see that there is skunk cabbage. In the beginning of the semester, we talked about the cool fact that that can generate its own heat as it's coming up through the snow. Some mallards just went by, flying by, very exciting here. Like I said, it's teeming with life. There's also these wonderful little horsetails. Unfortunately, we have a lot of other invasives in here, some invasive shrubs. We also have multiflora rose. Multiflora rose, remember, is the shrub that was planted as part of a program to increase hedgerows and prevent soil erosion, but it escaped and it's kind of taking over a lot of important habitat. And this other guy that we have here is Japanese barberry. Japanese barberry is something that escaped from cultivation and landscaping. What happens is that the birds will eat the seeds and then basically poop them around. They do have thorns on them, and if you walk through them, they can be really annoying. What's important though to human health though is that studies have shown that where you have a lot of Japanese barberry, you also have a lot of small mammals seeking refuge under it, which unfortunately means a lot of ticks also. And so this is a shrub that please don't ever plant it, and it's one that if you have it around you should try to remove it because it is an invasive species. As you walk around the loop and you go towards the more northern side, there is a small trail that shoots off of the loop and heads towards the river. Behind me, what you would see is the closest thing that we have to resemble an ancient floodplain forest. It's full of larger maples and oaks, and if you were to stand here on a nice quiet day, what really strikes you is just how many bird species that you can hear. Throughout the year, there's going to be a lot of herbaceous plants that show up here, so it's a really nice, rich place full of biodiversity. Now you may be asking yourself, well, what does Mawignack mean anyway? Well, the Mawignack Preserve is named because Mawignack refers to the term of two rivers coming together. Behind me is the Catskill Creek, and right down there is where the Catterskill Creek joins the Catskill Creek before it moves on to the Hudson. A cool tree that you can spot along the river's edge are those sycamores down there. They're the ones that are losing their bark, or it looks like they're losing their bark towards the top. As they age, they get kind of white and flaky and peely. They are a typical floodplain tree. They love living along near rivers. So here we are in the main part of the floodplain, and behind me you can see where this used to be a field for agriculture, but now it's grown up with this horrible weed called mugwort. Mugwort is an invasive species, and one thing that we have a problem with is, as you can see, it fills in and becomes a monoculture where that's all we have. One thing that the restoration project is including is working on removing this mugwort, but as you can see, the field is really large and it's going to be a really uphill battle. The main project that the Green Land Trust is working on to restore this floodplain is by removing that mugwort. One thing that they've been working on is that they've planted an acre of native tree species, followed by a mowing and replanting with native plant species beneath the trees. They've also included this 6-foot-high fence that's going to keep the deer out to help prevent those trees from being nibbled on. You can see that this area here has been mowed. This is one of the restoration efforts that they're trying out by trying to mow this area, try to control that mugwort. But as you can see, it is still coming back from last year. So it is going to be an uphill battle, and there is quite a bit of it that they have to remove. But restoration ecology is not something that happens very quickly, and it takes a substantial effort and commitment by the people who are doing that project. I hope you guys enjoyed your trip to the Mawignack Preserve, and I hope when you visit you have a glorious day like it is today. Thank you for watching.